All right, guys, welcome back. It's been a little bit of a long break for us. We've been busy, but we're back. Talk a little bit of NBA. We've missed a round and a half, pretty much. There's a lot. There's a lot that's happened. So
A lot of the first round, yeah.
we'll kind of recap the first round real quick. Oklahoma City swept New Orleans, easy peasy. The Timberwolves swept Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and that whole Suns team.
Yep, and got their coach fired.
And got the coach fired. So that'll be fun to see what Kevin Durant tries to do this offseason, where he's going to try to go. Because he's a titty baby bitch and he's going to try to leave.
He's going to go to the next championship team. Maybe he'll be playing in San Antonio.
I've been seeing people saying that we could be making an opt for him. I don't want Kevin Durant back on the Thunder. I don't want to see him ever in a Thunder uniform.
For what?
He'd make us worse. I think he'd make us worse.
He would. Especially what you would have to give up unless he's a free agent. If you guys had to trade for Kevin Durant, the asking price is still high.
Exactly. We have enough first round picks to get any player we want, but I don't think we should be spending it on a player like Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So
OKC stacked.
Nuggets gentlemen sweep the Lakers, kick LeBron out. Tough to see. I wanted LeBron to advance at least a round or two, but hey,
we all do.
What can you do when your coach sucks?
That matchup.
Well,
that wasn't going to happen.
And then in the East, the Knicks, Jalen Brunson just runs through whoever he plays, puts up 40 a night seemingly. It's pretty insane. I don't know how he's putting up that many points a night, but he is.
It's dog behavior.
Yep. And then you got Donovan Mitchell on the Cavs, single-handedly, pretty much pulling that team through.
The Magic.
Yep, against the Magic and Paolo Banchero. And Celtics made it look easy. They beat the Heat in 5 games, I believe.
Yeah, I think the Heat took that one, and that was it, bro. I mean, without Jimmy buckets and without a couple of other key players, they were gonna have a tough time regardless.
Yeah, Jimmy said, "Don't let us get one." Well, you got one, and that's all you could get, pal. So
yeah, Pat Riley also took a big fat shit on Jimmy Butler. He was like, "If you're not playing, shut the fuck up."
Yeah. You were right though about the Clippers Mavs. That series was pretty insane. It didn't go to 7.
No, it didn't, but it was an entertaining series, man. I mean, the Clippers, it was almost like the Sixers. The Sixers, and being a 7 seed was kind of crazy. That 4-5 matchup between Dallas and the Clippers was a fantastic matchup. I think Kawhi is what threw a wrench in that thing more than anything. The Clippers felt like they needed Kawhi to play. Kawhi comes back into the mix, ruins the chemistry completely. And then fucking Dallas just takes advantage and capitalizes. And Dallas is a phenomenal team. I mean, you saw that firsthand last night.
We'll get to that nonsense.
You saw that firsthand last night.
We'll get to my Thunder experience. But yeah, it was a really good series. I enjoyed watching it. I was wanting the Mavs to win because I think the Clippers are pretty stacked. I mean, they've got a lot of good players.
With old heads.
Tough matchup regardless. Even if they are all old, it's still a tough matchup. You got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. So it just says a lot about their team when you have a player like that just come off the bench. And I think if he would have played OKC, he would have turned it up a whole lot of notches. Could have been good or bad, but I don't.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I just think that it's an ode to the fact that formula isn't what people think it is. Phoenix got bounced with KD, Devin Booker, that seemingly powerhouse duo. Then you got that trio between James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. It just sometimes it doesn't mesh, dude. Those guys are all alphas. Those guys, Kawhi had to go do it with a team that they kicked DeRozan off of over there in Toronto. You know what I mean? He couldn't. That's 2 alphas on the team. That's 2 scorers on the team. I don't think that formulas. People will take a risk on it because you think of the star power, you think of what that's going to do. As far as the team goes, you're going to be selling jerseys. You're going to be selling tickets every single night. someone's favorite player is on that Clippers team between
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and James Harden. It's absolutely insane that they were all three on the same team. We're gonna look back on it a lot like OKC, right? Those guys were young, different situation,
Yeah.
different situation altogether. I will say that. But how does everybody view it now?
Yep.
It's always that throwback to, hey, remember when?
Remember when OKC
was
had
on a
these
team
three?
with James Harden and KD, all three of those guys. That formula isn't always the answer, man.
Yeah. We have nothing to show for it either.
They have a tough time with too much star power on a team. And the Clippers, we saw just that. Dallas is a great team. No discredit to Dallas. I'm pulling for Dallas hard. That's only because that's the only Texas team that's left in the playoffs. I could give less of a fuck who wins the championship.
Fucking Texas Glazer, dude. You don't even live in Dallas.
I don't live in San Antonio either, but I was born there.
You've said Dallas is gay.
Hey, man, that's
your words, not mine. That Raptors team, though, you mentioned, they could have probably repeated because they had Kawhi Leonard, they had Kyle Lowry, they had Pascal Siakam.
Yep.
Who's the dude who look like Drake? Little bitty short dude.
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet. They had him, and there was one more. I can't think of it. Who it was?
I don't know who the big was.
But it was it was someone decent. It wasn't like any scrub.
Right.
But that was a good team. We didn't think about it then. We thought just Kawhi Leonard came there and did it himself. But looking back, Pascal Siakam turned into a pretty good player.
They had everything there. Like, it was all set up. They just
VanVleet's a pretty good role player. He's a good role player.
Well, look at him now. He's in Houston now. And he's doing his thing. He's doing the Jalen Brunson type shit. That's what he's doing over there in Houston. So
yeah, it was a good team. That's the kind of team that, like, kind of like OKC, you look back on and you're like, damn, they had all these guys. But they got something out of it, though. They at least got a championship.
Facts.
But
that's what you do. You sell out. You sell out for that dude, and you say, hey, we got all the pieces. So shout out to the management over there. They had all the pieces. They just needed their one-star player, and unfortunately, DeRozan took the L for that one. But Kawhi was the guy, man. He was the guy. He was the missing piece.
Yeah, good for him. So that brings us to round 2, which is where we're at now. So
entertaining round 2.
It pretty much started off. OKC had a pretty long break because they swept NOLA, and then the Clippers and Mavs went to 6 games. I wish we went to 7. They'd be a little more tired, but I'll take what I can get.
Wear them out.
The Nuggets and Timberwolves actually started playing their round.
They did. While the first round was still going on, I thought that was interesting. I don't know the rules behind. I mean, I don't know how that shit works. I felt like that was the first time I'd ever seen that. I'm probably wrong. Yep.
But the Timberwolves have came out pretty strong these first 2 games.
Pretty strong.
Beat the piss out of the Nuggets.
They came out pretty strong.
It has not really been close.
Dude. Absolutely insane what the Timberwolves have done.
And they didn't get 2 without Rudy Gobert. And it still wasn't close. The defensive player of the year wasn't in and still wasn't close. Jokic hasn't been playing that good this second round. Neither has Jamal Murray, though. Neither has Michael Porter Jr. So their stars aren't playing that well in this round.
Yeah, you're right.
Because Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, they're just putting it on him, not letting him breathe. Who knows? Because Anthony Edwards, everyone who's watching these games can see that he is just a dog. You see all the Michael Jordan comparisons early on.
I don't even know what to call it. If he's evolving right before our eyes,
Dude.
He has already evolved and has graced us with the next generation of phenomenal all-star stud player, bro. He's all over the freaking court. He's a general. He's a young dude, and he's leading a ball club like the Minnesota Timberwolves, which have had a low-key freaking phenomenal year. And they're beating up on the defending champs, on the 3-time MVP. They're beating up on them. 2-0 in Denver. They took 2 games in Denver. And now they're sitting pretty in Minnesota in the driver's seat, cruise control, dude.
They weren't close games either. That's what the crazy thing.
No,
They would
dude.
have like snuck them out, kind of like how they did against the Lakers. Like buzzer beaters or like having to foul out to get the win.
None of that.
It hasn't
We're
been that.
talking
They've
double
been
digit dubs.
pulling the starters with 3 minutes left type wins.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's
That's what I love about sports, man. That's what I
testament to
love.
them though. What they're doing is insane. If the Thunder can pull this off, which I have faith they will, the Timberwolves are a scary team. I don't want to really go up. I mean, both these teams, Nuggets and Wolves, are both scary teams to play in the conference finals.
100%, dude. And this is no slight on OKC. This is no slight on OKC. But we're watching the conference finals in Minnesota and Denver. We're watching that.
Yeah.
We're watching that talent level at that point. We're almost getting two conference up because these series are going to go back and forth. Denver's going to get a game or two.
I think they'll get.
I don't think this is going to be a sweep. I think Minnesota came out hot. I think Denver's going to get a game or two, but I do have faith that Minnesota takes the series. It's
minimum one game. If they get swept, that'll be insane, dude. Like,
oh my God.
If the Wolves sweep the Nuggets, even as a Thunder fan, I'll pretty much concede like the next round to the Wolves.
Hey, y'all gotta
get point
Dallas, man.
But yeah, okay, we'll talk about Dallas right now.
Let's talk about that.
Man,
let's talk about that. I think we might even have to drop the text thread somewhere here.
So if you guys
about when you let me know you were going to be in that game last night, what I tell you?
Dude, all day, because I'm a little stitious. I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. If I'm watching a game and like I'm wearing a jersey and they're getting beat up on, I'll take the jersey off and put a different one on or something. I'll change something. And I don't want to talk too much shit leading up to the game because I don't want to jinx it. So I don't talk too much shit.
It's just a little boy.
I saw all this stuff about Luka and what he does after a loss, and he puts up 32 or 34 points. And I could have I had some shit talk typed up ready to go on like Instagram. I just deleted them. I'm not gonna. But then this little guy right here comes texting me, talking some shit, and he got me to bite. But my live Thunder game win-loss is not that good. It's nothing to be proud of. I'm like 1-3, 1-4. One or two of those are preseason games, but still, I've seen one Thunder win live, and it was against the Lakers last year when they came back from 21 points.
That was great, I bet.
So
yeah,
and it was a good win. I'm proud I got to see that.
Hey, dude, you went to a freaking playoff game. You went to a game that they were playing a beat up Dallas Mavericks team, dude. That win last night, it says a lot about what potentially the series could look like because a lot of it was Luka's beat up, dude. Luka's beat up. Kyrie's healthy, but if Kyrie's the only one in the mix and Luka's not performing, it's not gonna be a competitive series, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't want it to be.
Who knows if that was Dallas's one game that they squeak out? I have faith that this team can win the series. You know what I mean? Oklahoma City has dominated the season. They're a number one seed. They have potentially a lot of people thought was going to be the MVP on that team in SGA. They have the depth. They have the young talent. And, overall, correct me if I'm wrong, but OKC is pretty healthy.
Yeah, no, we are. We're very healthy. That's what's crazy because there was a couple times Luka fell down or, you thought he got hurt during the game last night. And
that's happened. That happened.
I don't feel bad about it. I'm always like, yes, star players hurt. Let him leave the game.
Dude, you fucking. You're superstitious. You might want to watch what you say, man.
I'm just saying. I don't want. That's like a compliment to them though, because I don't want them on the court because they can change a game.
Oh,
so I'm giving him his flowers, saying, "Hey, go twist an ankle and sit this series out. See you next year." But Yeah. So vibes were high though. I wanted to go and experience a playoff game. That was my first Thunder playoff game, first NBA playoff game, but Thunder especially. Loud City was rocking, dude. Like that shit was so awesome.
Let's
People had
go.
these little clappers going crazy, and every time Jalen
You got
Williams
your,
would hit a
you got
shot or
your, you
do
got your
anything,
T-shirt from the game.
yep, I got this. This is
Got
all I got to pretty much be happy about. But every time Jalen Williams would hit a shot or do anything, people
dude,
go barking, oh, 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 oh.
Jalen Williams,
Whole place, dude. It was. I'm gonna put
Jalen
videos in
Williams
here
was
of the crowd. Shit,
licking.
awesome, dude. A dude, some guy hit uh half court shot for.
Oh, I
Dude,
saw that. I saw that on ESPN, dude.
yep, hit that. Chet had that one where he Odell'd it, shot it with like 1.4.
With at the half, right? Was that at the half or the third?
Yep, half.
Dude, that shit was sick.
That's the shot that sent us into halftime, and it was just, all this crazy shit happening,
That shit was sick, man. You
and
went
it's
to
all for nothing.
No, I
Because
mean,
Luca, this guy. So me, my little superstitious self, when I got to the game, I knew about the stat where Luca's the best for points per game after a loss, and I'm like, okay, well, fuck Luca. Like, let's see how he does in the torture chamber, and this dude, first quarter comes out, fucking puts 10 on our heads. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
and 10 on y'all's head, 19 and think in the second quarter, some crazy shit like that. They went for the tactic of getting Lou Dort into foul trouble because Lou Dort got into foul trouble almost. He got his 2 in the first quarter, I think. He got his 2 in the first quarter. He sat for a while. Luka cooked. And then when Lou Dort was locked in the third quarter, I think Luka had a rough third quarter, dude. Luka had a pretty rough third quarter.
Third quarter
The
where
role
we came
players
back and
played a
tied
good
it.
shot. Yep.
We tied it in the third, and once again, place got so loud. This is fucking awesome, dude. But yeah, and then it was kind of like we caught up, lost it a little bit, would get close again, and they just pulled away in the fourth. But man, it was a fun experience. I wish I could have seen a win, but I mean, with a team like this, any game is losable, any game is winnable. I think in the Western Conference right now, all 4 teams left could win the finals. That's how good all of them are. You know what I mean? So
I believe that, man. I believe that. I believe that the Western Conference always has that weight.
yeah,
Somehow, some way, the Western Conference always has that weight, man. I love it, man. I love it. I know San Antonio's not in the mix, but I take the Western Conference versus Eastern Conference rivalry with. I take it serious, and I do believe that the Western Conference has always gotten, or most of the time at least, gotten the best of the Eastern Conference. So I do think any team that goes has a high percentage shot of winning the finals.
Yep. It's just I don't know what it is about the West. We just better teams. Players come to the teams in the West. I don't know why. Maybe it's not bigger markets because the East has big markets too. So yeah.
Yeah, the Northeast.
Yeah. But either way, makes for fun playoffs because it's super competitive.
Southeast teams suck.
Yeah. But anyways, so speaking of SGA, and we talked about Jokic. Jokic wins his 3rd MVP, and it's a little controversial. Not if you looked at just the voting, you wouldn't think it is because Jokic had way more votes than anyone else in the like
He
first
dominated
overall.
the voting.
But you look at all the like public talk, and people think SGA got robbed, which I mean I do. He balled out all season. Shaq even said it to his face, but he balled out all season.
Shaq said it to the face of the 3-time MVP, a
Got the
fellow
Thunder
center.
to the 1 seed. You know, so I mean, and I think with MVP voting, we talked about this how your team seeding has a big impact on votes, but I guess it didn't. So.
The thing about it was, and that they brought up, I mean, Ernie definitely brought it up on that TNT cast. They announced it. Charles Barkley announced it on that TNT on the TNT show with him, Kenny, uh, Ernie, and Shaq. Right? Charles went ahead and announced, Nikola Jokic winning the MVP the third time. It was just the controversy in between it, I guess, and that Ernie kind of shored up when it came to the record specifically was that the tiebreaker was like a divisional game. They had the same record. Oklahoma City, like it was neck and neck. So like the records themselves and the seeding was kind of like if you look at it as 1 and 2, it's kind of misleading. First off, it's 1 and 2. That's super close. But the misleading part was the same record, and there was like a tiebreaker in between. So I mean, Jokic winning due to the fact that they were a 2 seed with the same record is not as shocking as maybe Jokic winning as the 10th seed, squeaking in the playoff or in the play-in game, and then winning MVP or some shit like that, right? Like they were neck and neck, and both of their stats were overwhelming. SGA, he's a young cat. I think he meant a lot to his team. He meant just as much, if not more, to Nikola Jokic. I do personally feel like this would have been his year to win the MVP. I mean, I think what Shaq's argument was, and what I thought was just completely overwhelming, was the fact that he had so many. I think it was 30 plus point games.
Dude, he had. He broke an OKC record for having so many.
Like 50 plus games, dude, with 30 points.
And that's not. I mean, Jalen Brunson makes it look easy, but it's not easy to do. That means time to see.
Definitely, man. And I know Shaq had some honest words, I guess, because I mean, they immediately brought Jokic onto the broadcast. He told me he's big man to big man. I feel like SGA should have won.
Yeah, it was all love though. The way
it was all love.
It's not like he's talking shit, but yeah, I mean,
it was all love, and he also told it to a dude that speaks like, I mean, probably speaks Serbian or whatever his his primary language is 90% of the time. He's like, hey man, I feel like you should not have won this shit. He was like, I mean, it was the best guy you could tell some disrespectful shit like that too. Because Jokic is like, hey, fuck it. I mean, I don't care. Like
Jokic doesn't even care about the sport of basketball. It's weird.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. Like he just goes out, dominates, and then goes and enjoys his fucking life. Like honestly, everybody should.
Yep.
But Jokic does his thing, man. He does his thing, and that was the best guy Shaq could have told. I don't feel like you should have won it this year. I feel like someone else should have.
For sure.
I mean,
but then
disrespectful without being disrespectful. It's Shaq. So that's where that disrespectful line is not, I guess, not crossed, because shit, dude. I mean, it's one of the greatest and most dominant to ever do it at the same position. Big man to big man told him that.
Shaq's gonna Shaq at the end of the day. Shaq's always gonna do what Shaq wants to do, no matter what. But you told me that him and Shay, Uncle Shay, Shannon Sharp, Hall of Fame tight end for the Denver Broncos.
Apparently,
got a little beef going.
Clipped Shaq's comments when it came to him telling him telling Jokic about his true thoughts on SGA. And I guess Unc had some choice words. Maybe not choice. Maybe choice isn't even the right way to describe that. He just kind of he commented on it. He commented on it as an honest human being, and he was like, "Look, man. I mean, hey, that's kind of wild that you're telling the MVP that you feel like somebody else should have taken the award that they earned. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Jokic can't help the fact that SGA didn't win it, or the fact that he did. It's
Yeah.
votes. It's based on I think 100 voters, and even at that, it's like I don't even know what the percentage of like actual basketball players, actual former NBA basketball players it is to like regular people. I don't know who's on that committee that they
I know
choose.
Chris Broussard from First Things First is a voter. He has a vote for that.
Okay, did
So
Chris
it's like a
Broussard play?
media mix between media, maybe
Yeah,
former.
it's like a mix, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not even it's not NBA player. It doesn't it's not restricted to
I,
anybody. Maybe it's just like the highest like hey, you got some clout, like you have followers, you got subscribers, you got this going, you got that going. Let me put you on this. I don't know who's on that voting panel.
yeah.
But I mean Shannon Sharp was like, "Hey man, he got all voted." And Shaq does have a sore spot for the number 2 guys. Shaq has a sore spot because he lost out on being the MVP so many times. He notably has taken a stand to the fact that he lost to Steve Nash that MVP that year. I can't even remember what year it was, but he is very, very still very much still bothered by that.
Yeah.
And he took offense to, I mean, the two guy,
Well,
right?
dude,
Okay,
if I was an all-time great player like that, I'd have a problem with that too. Like because look at LeBron. LeBron's been robbed. How many MVPs has LeBron probably been robbed of?
yeah, true.
But people don't want to keep voting for the same guy, or the
Yeah,
media
and
thinks it's a certain way.
and
So
that exact night when Shaq said that, a few comments later, Kenny Smith, Kenny the Jet Smith, on that same broadcast said, "It almost hurts you to be as dominant as Shaq was, to be as dominant as Jokic is, because then everybody just expects it.
yep.
Everybody expects you to be great, and they kind of overlook your greatness."
Yeah.
So that's a tough pill, man. That's a tough pill because you're competing every year, you're doing your thing, you're trying to win a championship, obviously. But some of these guys, I mean, the winning an MVP is insane, man. There's only one guy that wins it. Out of all the players in the NBA, hundreds of players in the NBA, one dude is selected to win it. And now, 3 times the same guy's been selected within the past, 5 years?
Definitely. I mean, it was like a year or two ago. Who won it last year?
Embiid. Embiid got it last year, but before that, I think it was.
Before that, it was Jokic.
I think he was a back-to-back. Jokic ain't been in the league that long, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just crazy. I know there was some beef in between Shaq and Shay Shay, Uncle Unk, and it's kind of wild. I mean, Shaq took some serious offense to that. I know. I know Shannon Sharp was like, "Look, man, I don't want any smoke. I'm just telling you, that's kind of wild, that you're like blatantly saying no disrespect, but also disrespecting the rightful winner of the MVP. I mean, he's still dominant, regardless of what SGA did. The amount of triple doubles, what he means to his team, they were damn near the same exact seeding. I mean, without Jokic, what would that team look like? What would Denver look like? Nothing. It would not be anything compared to Jokic is the face of that team and will be for years to come. 3-time MVP it's well earned. I'm not even gonna say well deserved. Well earned on his part, and I feel like SGA will have his time. He's very young still. I think he will come and do his thing, or he will continue to do his thing, and an MVP will just be a byproduct of what he's doing. Because he's honestly, what OKC is looking for right now is championships. They have the team. They're very young, but they're looking for championships. They're not looking for MVP. And I think that's why you don't hear anything from SGA. He doesn't give a shit. He's looking for the next game.
Yeah, but we like to celebrate the little things, especially in a small market. If you can get an MVP on your team to get their recognition, it's always real nice coming from a small market team, because that means that what he was doing was really that, because it's getting like national recognition.
You guys got one though. Russ won one, right? A couple.
Russ won one. KD won one. So we've got a couple, but it's just you want your star player when he's balling out like this, get you the first seed after missing playoffs. You
You
want
guys gotta get a
you
championship.
want you want it for your boy. You want it for your boy. That's
100%.
pretty all it is.
100%.
But
I know Wemby's gonna be winning, and I don't even know if he'll be able to fill it. It'll be on multiple hands.
well,
That guy
speaking of Wemby, we'll kind of go from this to Wemby winning Rookie of the Year. Wins it over Chet. It was close halfway through the season. I think Chet was even ahead at the half point, but I don't know. Wemby just kind of started pulling ahead, I guess. People say it was that game where he blocked him. I don't really think so. Whatever. Who even cares? I don't. We're in the
Keep the
playoffs. You're
graphic
not.
up.
We're in the playoffs. You're not.
Unanimous rookie of the
Kiss,
year.
kiss your
The
little
last one to
trophy,
do it.
dude. No one cares, dude.
The last one to do it was Timmy D, 2-1 from the Spies.
Okay, so you guys just get little defensive players of the year. Who
No,
cares?
we
Who
don't.
cares?
No, relax.
Who
How many
cares?
are you talking? How many are you talking? How many
I
Larry
know.
O'Briens are in OKC?
We're a new team.
Okay, I got the same argument for the Texans.
2008.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
5 chips. Five
Okay.
chips in San Antonio.
I can't wait till Popovich croaks.
Next couple years.
So Wemby wins it. Obviously, it's deserved. Wemby was obviously he was a betting favorite to win it after he got drafted. So
Absolutely.
no surprise.
He's a freak, and he was insanely dominant. The rookie of the year, I think, was, like I said about SGA, man, in his future, a byproduct of what he does, what he brings to the team, how he performs. It's absolutely insane. When he's on the court, people are literally running from the paint and trying to get outside. That guy will block you absolutely anywhere, and the paint is a no-fly zone, an absolute no-fly zone. I know there's been a couple of highlight reels out there about Wemby and NBA level players being like, "Nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm good.
They'll
good.
Let
me take this
easy,
shit outside."
under the goal, and they just keep running.
100%.
Yeah, it's crazy to see.
It's
But
dude.
what's also crazy is that he could have won Defensive Player of the Year. Also, he could have taken their stats showing. I'll put it up where it shows Wemby's stats and Rudy Gobert's stats. Rudy Gobert won Defensive Player of the Year, but Wemby has better defensive stats, so it's weird. And I was wondering this, or thinking about it to myself earlier this week, thinking, has a rookie ever won MVP or like something high like that? Because they would get Rookie of the Year plus MVP or Defensive Player of the Year trophy.
I think Tim Duncan was the last one to win Rookie of the Year and then be considered heavily in the MVP conversation. I think he was the last one.
Yeah, but considered heavily isn't winning.
No, yeah, he didn't do it. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if I don't know who won, who the last guy to win double awards was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if that's ever been done. I don't know. Try to keep
and maybe it's just one of those things that they don't want to do. I don't know, because sports are a little bit of politics as well. They probably wouldn't want one person winning 2 major awards like that. I don't know how it all works, but
right. I do think it would shake it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, from my biased opinion, I mean, Wemby was well deserving. I mean, if we're talking about overall stats, we're talking about Wemby, and you're talking about Rudy Gobert. Let's just put that out there. Rudy Gobert was Defensive Player of the Year, and his stats in comparison, we're talking about overall blocks throughout the year: 254 for Wembanyama. No, let's do Gobert's first. 162 blocks for the Defensive Player of the Year. 254 for the Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
52 overall steals for the Defensive Player of the Year. 88 for the Rookie of the Year. 104.5 defensive rating for the DPOY. And 105.8 defensive rating for the Rookie of the Year. And I mean, if we want to talk even averages, right, per game, 3.6 For Wemby, Gobert 2.1 when it comes to blocks. So he was averaging more. I mean, obviously, right? The math is just maths.
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, somewhere along the lines within the criteria, obviously the Spurs were absolute dog shit. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only difference in between these guys is the performance of their teams, the seeding of their teams. One team in the playoffs, one team obviously not, and going to be in the lottery pick again next year. Is that enough to sway these awards, though?
I don't think it should be. It probably is because it makes you wonder what what other criteria went into it. Because looking at that image that we both looked at, I mean, obviously, just seeing that, you would think Wemby should have ran away with it.
Well,
But
it's
weird.
overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, it's not close, especially the blocks. The blocks are, I mean, it's at least 50 apart. So why is it?
And you're talking about, I know that defensive rating, it brings into account a lot. It brings into account paint presence. It brings into account perimeter defense. It brings into account what they do, well, maybe within the zone. There's a lot of things that are brought into account when it comes to an overall defensive rating.
Well, whatever it brings into account, Wemby had a better one. So
Exactly.
so it's just I don't know.
I'm
It's
just saying
odd.
that there's no way a 104 for Rudy Gobert and a 105 for Wemby makes a whole bunch of sense in between just reading blocks and steals.
Yeah.
But when it comes to schemes and when it comes to the performance of those players within the schemes, that's where the defensive rating is kind of evened out in between. An even record, I think, maybe, comes into play. Scoring the amount of points that were scored on each defensive player, right? Like that's all got to come into effect for it to be that close. Because
record has to be a major part of it because
yeah,
otherwise
dude,
I don't know. I don't know what else would be.
defensive rating when you got 88 steals versus 50 and almost 100 block difference, it's insane. And that blocks per game 3.6 versus 2.1, that's an entire block and a half throughout the entire season. That and Wemby had a couple 10 block games, if I'm not mistaken. I know at least one. I'm gonna say a couple 10 block, double-digit block games.
That's a shit ton.
Dude,
Usually when you get a double like that, it's blocks and steals, but just blocks is insane.
no, dude, just blocks is wild.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you gonna do? I'm maybe the voting needs to change. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy when it comes to the MVP. Not as many people talked about. I know Shaq had some words on Wemby not winning Defensive Player of the Year and Rudy Gobert winning it. I know he was vocal about that as well. He's a big man. Those big men. I don't know.
Shaq's just saying what the people are saying. That's what
Yeah.
it sounds like. But
honestly, and it's tough, dude. It's tough as a fan, but at the same time, it's an award. What we're looking for is contention within the playoffs and beyond, obviously. So it is what it is. It's a conversation, but that's exactly what it's going to be. The thing about it is, it goes down in the legacy of these players, right? Because Rudy Gobert is going to be considered one of the best defensive players. He could potentially be a Hall of Famer, winning 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. He's going to be considered one of those guys. And now, Wembanyama is in there in the mix, and it's like, oh yeah, well, Rudy Gobert won a Defensive Player of the Year over Wembanyama.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a topic of conversation eventually, unless Wemby's winning 5, 6 Defensive Player of the Years. It's not even close. Who knows?
Yeah, but then you can bring in just the whole fact that he had a better team,
Before
the Knicks Pacers game was going on. It was a close game at the end. Pacers had a lead. Knicks tied it, and then this random
Jalen Brunson tied that.
Jalen Brunson, the dog, ties it.
The left-handed assassin.
This no-name nobody, Nembhard. People in Indiana don't even know who this guy is. But he shoots a long 3
at the freaking shot clock buzzer, like at the
Flashes.
absolute last second. That's the only reason he pulled it.
Flashes that shit too.
Steph Curry splashed that shit.
And
In effect, won the game. I mean, there was 30, 40 seconds on the clock still, but that was it. The Knicks did not capitalize after that, and I think the game ended up being like a 7-point win for the Pacers. They take game 3. They take the first game at home.
Yep. Series is 2-1. Now it's a little bit more competitive for that.
Every team's undefeated at home.
But the Pacers have been playing good games against them. At least that one where they got screwed by where's like 78 missed calls from the refs that they submitted for. They submitted to the NBA 78 missed
calls.
Yep. So they got a little screwed from the refs. I think it was game 1. I believe it was game 1, maybe game 2. But either way, one of these games, there were 78 missed calls that the Pacers submitted to the league, and they lost.
There's no way that's
so
78 missed calls.
That shit
is at that point. That shit's rigged.
Yeah.
There's no way. That's bananas.
Yep. And then Cavs Celtics.
Interesting series.
It's tied up 1-1 with those guys, which is if Donovan Mitchell beats the Celtics. Do you think the Celtics do anything to change? Or do you think they just like stick with it? Just
fucking love it. I couldn't even tell you how much I love
because the Celtics like are supposed to be a powerhouse.
Honestly, even me, dude, I was like, the Celtics are gonna beat the shit out of everybody. They're gonna fucking dominate the Eastern Conference. I'm so fucking glad I was wrong, dude. Fucking 40 or whatever the fuck you dropped. It was.
I'm not counting them out because they lost the game. They lost the game last series too. But like if you can win one game, you can win more. So there's a chance, you know.
And in convincing fashion, I'm pretty sure the Cavaliers won by damn near 30, dude.
I didn't really watch.
They were up 29 or 30 points.
I didn't watch the game because I was on my way to this game, so I didn't see the game.
Dude,
I just know that the Cavs won. Mitchell was balling.
Shot that Mitchell steps left, crossover left, right over JT. Banger. A triple. And honestly, that's what cooked the Celtics. At that point, from the rest of the game in the fourth quarter, it was a rhapsody.
It'll be fun to watch. Like I said, the East is a lot more competitive than we gave it credit for going into the playoffs. We thought it was going to be, well, I did personally. I thought it was going to be very boring.
No, there's
I'm very satisfied with it. I mean, this New York Pacers one is turning out to be pretty good, even though it's 2-1.
No, it's going to be a good series.
Celtics, Cavs.
Each game is going to be earned.
Yeah,
each game is going to be a dogfight for sure for the Knicks, Pacers, Celtics. Now, like we saw blowout and blowout. I think the Celtics won by 20 the first game.
Yeah,
the Cavaliers come back, won by 20 plus. You know,
but both teams blowing at each other. It means they can both put up points on each other. So it's going to be
both teams what?
Huh?
Both teams what?
Then you said there was a blowout and another blowout.
I'm sorry. I could have swore I heard both teams blowing each other.
This guy.
Run the tape back.
You'd pay to see that, pal. I know you.
Run the tape.
You little zesty man. Speaking of zestiness, if I can find the clip, I'll put it in the video. Where it's Karl Anthony Towns post game. He's got a real deep voice, and then
he gets real zesty.
Any other video, he's like, "Oh my gosh,
oh my god,
he's zesty."
Let's go get him. Good practice. Just go get him. I really don't know other way to explain it. Just take the shots, be super aggressive, ultra aggressive, and be willing to make a mistake in the aggression.
This win guarantees one more game.
Crazy because after all that, they took him off the court to put him even closer to the locker room. So I was like, all right.
Bro, you're funny as hell. Did you know I was gonna do it?
Bro, they asked me in media about you.
What?
They really did.
What the?
Because outside looking in, like, we was like, damn, it's total chaos in Minnesota right now. Like,
no, for sure.
it was like Jimmy versus Minnesota. Like,
If I can find it, I'll put it in. It's funny, dude. It's so. But yeah, let's do a quick prediction on how we think the rest of these series are gonna go. I guess we'll just start at the West. Thunder, Mavs. I think Thunder's gonna win. I don't know.
Mav City.
Prediction wise, I don't know. Let's say it's 1-1. I mean, it's at least gonna be 5.
Mavs in 6.
I think it's gonna be Thunder in 6, honestly. So
all right, you're on record.
Thunder in 6. I've got it. You've got Mavs in 6. We'll go to Nuggets Wolves. Right now, it's looking like the Nuggets could take Game 3, but I'm gonna.
It is not even a half yet, but I will say that I do believe this game is going to go 7. I'll be honest. I think this game will go the distance. I don't know if this is Minnesota's year, man. I don't know if this is their year yet. But because of the fact they played so well and they beat the defending champs at home for the first 2 games, regardless of the fact that if they drop this Game 3 at home, I think Minnesota in the long haul. I think they take the game. I think they take the series in 7.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you on that series wise. I think they definitely take it in 7. Well, not 7. I'm sorry. They take the series for sure, but I think it goes to 6. I don't see the Nuggets winning more than 2. Just the way that the Wolves have been playing with this crazy offensive player and then defensive player of the year, you know. So it'll be. Yeah. I don't think it'll be close.
Sure. They do have the defensive player of the year. It's just I don't know. Could be a Kawhi kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where they throw Rudy Gobert back in the mix for 1 game. Nah, it's not. It's not.
I think
he missed 1 game for the birth of his kid. I'm overdoing it.
Yeah.
I think the T-Wolves will be fine.
Yeah. And then on to the East, Cavs, Celtics. We just talked about that pretty briefly. I think obviously Celtics are still going to win.
I'm gonna say Celtics. Celtics in 5.
5 is pretty realistic. Cavs maybe squeak out 1 more, maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that was their magic right there. They had to blow out. Celtics aren't going to take that shit for very long.
Pacers, Knicks. It's been a little more competitive, I think, than the series record shows.
Yeah, Spike Lee's going to love this one, man.
So
I'm going to say Knicks in 5.
I like the Knicks as well. It'd be cool to see the Pacers win as an underdog, but I do think Knicks, just what Brunson's doing, like it's insane that his betting props are 40 points. Like it's will he get over or under 40.5 points? That's his props right now, and it's the fact that I'm seeing that is insane. That's where the line's at. So yep. So I think Knicks as well. I think Knicks in 6. I think Pacers probably get 1 more.
Okay.
So Knicks
5. Jalen Brunson's gonna put that backpack on and put the Knicks in it and the Pacers.
Yeah.
In the conference
it'll be fun. We're getting a lot of good basketball.
Great
basketball.
Great basketball.
And next May 15th, this is unrelated to basketball. May 15th, NFL schedules come out. So next week we can talk about that.
I can't freaking wait. I got something special. For the Richie boys. Some new from the boys down in H-Town.
But that wraps up this week's video. It was a long pause. We'll try not to do that again. We'll try to be a little more consistent, but we got lives too, you know. So
yep. We got a little busy. What can we say?
Yep. Forgive us. We'll be better. But NBA playoffs, that's that. We'll see you next week. Peace.